We are live. Yay. Hello, everyone. We are so happy to be here with you today. And I am going to look at the comments to see if you could just respond to us in the comments so we know that you're out there and we're not just talking to each other. That would be great. We're so happy to be here with you today. And Jen's going to introduce our topic. And then we're here to just interact with you around that topic and see if we can share some helpful information.
Yeah.
As well as provide you an opportunity to do some deeper work on people pleasing.
Yeah. So today we are going to give you just a little bit more of a taste about what we're diving into deeper. Starting tonight, that class is already full, but we still have some spots open, I think, the rest of the week if you get on there. But we are talking more about what it means to people please and why we say yes when we should really say no. So talk to us about that. Put that in the chat because I see that you're here. Thank you, Therese. Thank you, Free to Be Me. Erin, hello. Hello, hello, hello. It's so nice to see you. But that's what we're talking about today. And so we'll do not only a bit more of a deeper dive and take your questions about that. So we have Amanda as our trusted support, as she always is, to help us collect the questions that you might have, because we want to make sure whatever we do, Diana and I and the whole team here, we want you to feel safe. So we want you to remember that you are on Leslie's Facebook page, her public page, her YouTube channel, and then we're on one of our private Facebook pages right now as well. So when you do make a comment or a question, it could be seen potentially by somebody else. So please, please, please feel free to ask a question for a friend if you need to, or simply follow Amanda's instructions as to how you can ask a more anonymous type question. And Diana and I will spend our time doing that today, talking to you about why we say yes when we really maybe should say no, because we're all about people pleasing. The next 6 weeks, we're talking about that.
So, Free to Be Me is out there saying, I only see you. I'm not sure what's going on with that. So if you can give me some more information. It looks like YouTube is working. I think it might be on your end.
Yep, could be.
Right. And I'm just looking. We see our friend Leanne is out there, and we've got people from Florida, Kansas, Pennsylvania, California. Hi, Connie. Erin from PA. Nice. Well, thank you.
Any Canadians out there? I haven't checked the whole chat yet. Come on, you got to give me some Canadian love here.
Yep.
No, that's good. Okay, so I think Amanda is saying, and maybe you can all see that in the chat, that sometimes you might just see the comments that you've made. Sometimes we can't see the comments either, right, Diana? Like it comes up as like just Facebook user or something like that. So if we don't call you out by name, please know that you are still seen, you are heard, you are loved in this community, even just by showing up. Even if you don't comment, but if we do comment on something that someone has made a comment about and we don't call you out by name, it's not because we don't love you and care about you. It's we might not actually be able to see your name. So please remember that.
We got a Canadian out there.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Tennessee, Oakland, Michigan, Nebraska, Arizona again, and Pennsylvania, my neighbor over here in Ohio. So,
yeah.
Welcome, everyone.
Pennsylvania is kind of my neighbor too. Like I have to drive through New York State to get to Pennsylvania, but know it well. So no, that's fantastic. We are so happy to see you here. So if we go back to our topic, which is why do we say yes when really we should say no, or I'm probably mixing that up, but what comes up for you? Post in the chat, not just for yourself, but kind of just what comes up for you, period. Absolutely. For somebody else, if you've witnessed it and you thought, why did they agree to that? They're like, you know, like I'm thinking of one of my best friends right now, all the stuff that she just took on for the past couple of weeks for church. And it was her daughter's wedding last Friday. So for any of you that were on with Susan and I when I went to the wedding, it was when, you know, she's committing to all this stuff. And so I'm thinking for my own heart, what would be going through my mind, recognizing that she's not only got this wedding to deal with, but all these other things she's saying yes to. So I know I'm making that up, and that's what I'm asking you to do.
Mm.
So you don't have to just speak for yourself. Make up whatever you might see as a people-pleasing perspective.
Do you say yes when you want to say no? How about you, Jen?
Oh, totally. Way too often. I'm better. I am way better.
Yeah.
What about you?
You know, I'm trying to think. I'm learning not to. I really am. I try to pause and just think. And so I have to pause because, of course, I'm used to being the easygoing person. I used to call it easygoing. And what it really was I would defer to what everyone else wanted. And so part of that issue for me was not really taking the time to think and to know what I really wanted.
So good.
Or not having to decide what I wanted. And sometimes it was just easier. But then, you know, I started asking myself the question, am I really living the life I want to live? And so now when you start saying no, sometimes people don't understand that because they're used to you not saying no, right?
So can we just pause there? Because that just really hit me. I love what you just said about the easygoing part. So other people, put it in the chat if you have a different term for that. But what I think my heart just checked in about was the fact that you labeled it as something, whatever you call it. So you called it easygoing. Other people maybe like a doormat or something, whatever they call it. It's not bad. I'm just saying, like, if what we've put into our heads.
I'm just easygoing, whatever you guys want to do.
Right.
You know, and I was, you know, so now I started asking myself some different questions, which I don't want to give it all away, right? But one of the questions is, what will bring me joy? And, you know, you don't know that automatically, right? But anyways, Nancy's saying that's good. Yeah, like what would bring me joy? So you have to start knowing yourself better. That is a problem. That's what we kind of want to introduce you to is all the goodies and the gems of really diving into this topic because it's not that easy. Well, it might be simple, but it takes work to figure out, why do I do this? Why do I say yes when I want to say no? So for me, I labeled myself easygoing, and I was the youngest of four, and everyone always told me what to do. So I just went along, right? And then here I am. I won't tell you how old I am, but you know, I got to a certain decade in my life and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm letting everyone else decide. What's up with this?
Okay. And I'm on the opposite end. I'm the oldest. So if we talk about birth order stuff, like I know there's all kinds of psychology and everything around birth order. So maybe put into the chat what number you were in your birth order, just for fun. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, whatever it may be. Just we get to know you a little bit better and have some fun here. So I was number 1. And so, okay. So Diana, we're coming to something here at the same time for different reasons, because one of your reasons is, I was always just told what to do. So I hear easygoing. I think it makes life easier. I can speak for myself as being number 1 in the birth order, if that matters, that I was directing all the time. And so then I had to learn to step back and go, someone else take this over. I'm done. I'm done being the lead. Because there was so much pressure on failing if I didn't do what everyone needed to do while I'm people pleasing. Right.
So you were taking responsibility for everyone else, and I wasn't taking responsibility for myself.
Right. So, and I wasn't taking responsibility for myself either. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. That's why I'm saying we're coming to this at the same like peak moment, no matter where you are in your birth order or any psychology you want to say or any spirit check. Come on. We are here because something has caused us to people please that is to our detriment.
Yeah. So let's ask you guys in the chat. What are some reasons why you found that? And there was a few answers. One was guilt. You know, why do you say yes when you really want to say no? And I'll just get you started. I mean, maybe it could be because you want to be included, or you fear rejection, or abandonment, or not being liked, or I don't know, not being the good one. Maybe you've been taught that being the good one is the agreeable one. So we've got fear of rejection, don't want someone to get mad. Yeah, sometimes if you're with strong others and they can be a little assertive / aggressive when you say no and they want their way, that can be hard. And you learn to fawn, right? I'll do whatever. Just let me keep the peace.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it right there. Aggressive versus assertive. And we do talk about that.
Yes.
During our 6-week program.
Well, we cover all this stuff, ladies.
But
there's a lot of thinking to do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of awareness that has to occur. And as you guys are generating ideas and we're talking, I'm hoping that you're, like Jen said, this resonates with me, that you have some insights, because awareness and insight is the first step toward change. I can't change what I'm not willing. I don't even say what I'm not willing. Sometimes we don't know, right? Sometimes, and that's why we're here today, asking you to think this through with us, to do some processing and ask yourself some of those deeper questions.
Yeah. So I see Sherelle's comment there, peacekeeping, and she even put it in quotations, so I can only guess what that means. But we also talk about peacekeeping, peacemaking, and peace faking.
What is the difference and how do I not?
Yeah. But that blew my mind the first time I heard that.
More than just talk about it, I think if we're going to talk about the group coaching experience, lady, we want you to practice. So we want you to practice in your group coaching experience so you walk away saying, yes, I'm different. I'm choosing different. No longer. I'm stepping into who I am. This is going to make a difference in my life. We want empowerment, right? And I think we do that wonderful when we're together as women, for each other and with each other.
Yeah, because we work really hard to not only bring up the content, that's, dare I say, Diana, that's the easy part. I mean, Leslie has so beautifully led us into her wisdom, and she has gifted us with her wisdom. Okay, so the content is one thing. So as we kind of give you a sneak peek as to what module 1 is like, starting tonight, for those that are, and anyone give a shout out that are starting tonight and tomorrow, because here we are, we're doing this. We've got module 1 happening over the next couple of weeks, and there's still time for you to sign up to get into this. But the idea is the content is rich, and we trust you, and we think you're smart. We know that you can read and watch videos and love and feel, but like what Diana just said, we also want you to have the experience of safety and community with so many of your sister peers. So you're all coming into this with something in common. It's your faith first, probably, and then your need to somehow overcome people pleasing, whatever that looks like.
Nice job.
Whatever that looks like.
So we've got a lot of great answers in the chat here. I want to be helpful. And Aaron's saying, beginning in childhood, trying to earn love, approval, and validation, and wanting to be loved, wanting to be validated, and wanting approval is a very natural, and it's just the way we're designed. And so as a part of that, how do we do that legitimately? Where does that begin? And how do we apply biblical truth to really wanting those qualities that God's designed us for and live that out, allowing God to be the hub, and then not needing love, approval, and validation so much that we give up who we are of
Yeah.
being anchored in those truths and who Christ says we are, and then walking strong in discovering who we are, right? And we're also different and we're also unique, right?
I love that part. That's my favorite part. Life would be so boring.
Yeah, sometimes I would ask myself, I used to say, what's wrong with me that I don't want to do this? But I've learned to switch to, I just really don't want to do this any longer.
Yeah. So
Or,
desire for change.
yeah,
Even if this is your first place, like I don't know how many here are faithful followers of Leslie Vernick's incredible work. But if you're just here for the first time, this may be your first step. If you're here for the 50th time, this still may be your first step into what Diana just said. Maybe I just need something different. Really, because I think that's what we're really all about, aren't we? Because if God just wants us to grow. So
well, I think in appreciating our differences, sometimes I'll notice somebody's doing something else and I'll be like, should I want that? And that's where I think the really powerful part of doing some of the work is really, really understanding that you're unique. And we do that in the context of the group as well. But everybody has, in some ways we're very similar in terms of the way we're designed and in terms of our needs to feel loved, validated, and accepted, right? But we're all so unique in how we want to live out our life and our preferences and our choices. This Kathleen is saying, I don't have a voice, and I think that's a huge part of what we want to learn together as we step out of people pleasing, is we learn to find our voice, and then we learn to exercise that muscle. And trust me, that is something I am working on, is speaking up and speaking out. I'm a soft-spoken person, and sometimes it's hard for me to say.
You're easygoing. You admitted that at the beginning. You're easygoing, right?
Yeah.
So
not professionally. Professionally I can speak.
Oh, I know you can. Absolutely. No, I mean, that's why I love you. For sure. But I'm catching on to the fact that when you acknowledge that's something you're practicing on, I love that humility. I love that desire for change.
Yeah.
Because you acknowledged, whether it was birth order or whatever we were talking about at the beginning, it's like, I'm easygoing. Well, how do we phrase this differently as we move forward? And I think that's what we're all here for, is to take our soft no's, make them a little bit harder, make them harder still, make our voices get heard, because we deserve to have a voice.
Well, Jen, and when you think about it, I remember my sister, she asked me to do something this weekend, and I want to speak truthfully and honestly. She asked me, do you want to do this? And I said, we had plans on Saturday, so I couldn't. And so I honestly responded, yes, I would love to do this. However, we're headed out of town and I cannot,
Yeah.
And so I think the part I wanted to emphasize is speaking honestly, because if we're people pleasing, do you think we're really being honest? Maybe not to ourselves and maybe not to others. So we're not giving them the opportunity of really knowing our preferences or those things that matter most to us. So there's a challenge there.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about living up to our values, being authentic, honesty being one of our values, authenticity being one of our values. What are some of your values? Put them into the chat. That just first thought, best thought. Don't overthink it. What is so important to you that you would die for, basically, if I can be dramatic? Because that's where we really need to stop and go, wow, that's when my people pleasing can possibly harm me. Because we're all about, we want you, God called us to serve. We are not against that at all. We love it. If that's part of your big circle, if that's what you're called to do, please do it. It's when it starts to hurt you, cost you, make you sick,
or stress out.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about, because then there's a conflict in values, because I am what? I'm not being honest, because if I was honest, I'd say no, but I'm going to say yes. And now I'm sick in bed for 3 days.
Well, I think sometimes we can be too agreeable and not recognize that it's at a detriment. So my second question for our listeners today is, when I say yes, even though it's really a no, what is the cost to me? Are you noticing what the cost is to you? Sometimes we don't even pause. You know, I had a family member say to me yesterday, I don't know, there was an opportunity for her to do, volunteer opportunity. And she wanted to do it. I love doing that. And I looked at her and I said, you know, you have this, this, and this on your plate, and that has to be your priority, mainly your well-being. Think about that first and pray about it. I mean, sometimes we want to, but it's not wise.
Yeah. And so I just see one of our latest comments here. Happy Gilmore. Okay. Already I'm in love with you, because that's one of my favorite movies ever. But anyway, the idea is serving is a condition of the heart, and God knows our hearts. That's it. That is it. God knows our hearts, and we know our hearts. So I often talk about it like a helium balloon. Diana, correct me on this. Okay. Help me track with this. But we have a helium balloon that's tied to a ribbon, right? So you've got the ribbon, you're holding it. This is your heart right here where you're holding it. But the ribbon goes up and the helium balloon is up here waving away. I look so good. I'm people pleasing. I'm making everything happy, and I'm serving Christmas dinner, and I'm doing whatever at church and saying yes to whatever, right? So everyone sees this up here, but they don't know where the ribbon actually is attached to. Only you know. Only God knows, because he'll keep you in check. And we help you look at that. When does God give you a bit of a heart check as to what's going on? Because you can fool a whole bunch of people with your beautiful red balloon up here floating around.
Yep. And I can be talked into things too.
Sure.
Easily. Yeah.
Well, why not? Because then it's starting to speak into other values that you have. So I think that goes back. So speak a little bit more about that, Diana, because what just touched me there is knowing ourselves.
Well, if I'm challenged, I told you I'm a soft-spoken person. So, and this is, you know, I'm speaking of my personal relationships, not my professional. And I think we can function differently in different venues, right? Because professionally, I know, but personally, or at least I think I know, but personally, you know, like if I'm challenged, and we just had this weekend, you know, my partner wanted to go to, he likes to go to a lot of concerts. We talked about that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
You come home from one.
You got denied Robert Plant, just saying. And then I was bragging on our group chat that I was like, well, my son's just there in Ottawa Blues Fest. So
yeah. Well, we just got back from seeing Ed Sheeran in Pittsburgh.
There you go.
And he's like, he's going to be in Michigan. We could drive there. Or no, he said, I could drive there and go see him again. And, you know, and I'm like, and I'm just thinking about it. And my inside was, I don't want to do that. I just saw him. You know, that's time, that's resources, and that's way too soon. And the more he talked about it, the more I felt the nudge to maybe that's a yes. So I was aware that initially for me it was a no. It just wasn't wise on so many levels. And I can be persuaded. So I would have to say, if I had to be honest with you all out there, how many do we have out there? That I can be too easily persuaded. So that's one of my dings. You know what I mean? I have to be careful of that, because if some, he's talking about, oh yeah, it'd be so fun, going on and on and on. But so I really need to pause and to think about that.
So yet another reason why I say yes when maybe I need to say no. We're not saying one is right or wrong. We're like, that's it. We're asking you to pause. Mm-hmm. We take the time over the next 6 weeks to learn how to pause. And your pause there's lots of work to do. So someone asked earlier, by the way, Diana, what do I need to do to get ready? Show up, know how to work Zoom, and go into your portal. Okay. So if you don't already know how to do that and you're already signed up for the course, please contact assistant@leslievernick.com. Maybe Amanda, if you can put that in there, if you haven't already. I think you probably have. Amanda's awesome. But, so the whole idea is that we want to learn how to pause. And that's really, I think, the heart of what we teach and give space for. So if 90 minutes is all you can give each week for the next 6 weeks, to just pause and be with other sisters that get it, that get you, that we work really hard to create a safe place for. I think that's the key. And just like Diana was saying, we have to learn how to pause when we recognize either, am I being persuaded into something? Influenced is a different word. Is it good, bad? How do I check that against my values?
It's never bad. It's never the bad stuff we get stuck on.
Yeah.
It's really like, what's most important to me? What are my values and how do I want to spend my time? So you have to pause and really think through that stuff.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to anchor in, but the first thing is the first call to action is a pause for contemplation, really. And then, for some of you who've lost your voice, exercising that voice.
Yeah.
Learning my parameters. What are my boundaries around how I want to spend my time? I don't want to spend all my time in concerts. I don't mind going to a couple a year. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
And the problem is they are fun. They are fun, but, right?
See? So is that not your pause? That's your trigger right there. I just heard it and you caught yourself.
You were so good. You noticed that. Yeah, the but. What is the but?
It wasn't just the word, it was the way you said it.
Mm-hmm.
So ladies, or whoever's listening right now, hear that, but in your own way. Diana, sorry to interrupt you, but that just hit me, right? Because that's where, when you start to do that, whatever your but is, so that was Diana's, it's like, but it's going to cost me something.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's just my pause.
But yeah. So we need to be clear on all those things. You'll have opportunity to work through some of that. I just want to tell them a little bit about the course.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the only group coaching opportunity that we offer. It's during the summer, which is kind of fun. You drop in whatever time you choose. It's a 90-minute. And so you'll probably be committed to another hour easily to prepare for the time that we spend together. And you'll be doing some of your own processing and work and implementing this. So you want to be action oriented and take a real, I'm going to dig in kind of approach. And this is the only one where we meet weekly. All of our other group coaching opportunities, we meet every other week. So it's going to be a deep dive for 6 weeks. And then you're going to carry all that momentum on into the fall, which will be awesome. There's 3 modules, and I've got all the information in front of me here. There are 13 videos in total. It's doable.
Yep.
And so for module 1, what you're going to get, we're going to cover that will be, what is a people pleaser? How do I define that? What does that look like, right? And here's a good one. What are the lies that keep me stuck in this? What are the fears that keep me stuck in this? And how do I learn to walk in truth? And again, what keeps me stuck in unhealthy patterns? And so that's just a little bit of unpacking what we're going to do. And then in module 2 and module 3, you're going to understand who you are, how to become you instead of trying to be who other people want you to be, which sounds really refreshing to me. It does.
Anyone else want some freedom from that? Lack of pressure, freedom, what?
Exactly. And I think,
put it into the chat if that would be nice for you to not have that kind of people pleasing pressure. Even if it means, you know what? I don't even know what it means yet. I'm just taking the course. I'm going to sign up with safe people.
But I'm continually asking the question, who does God want me to be? And how can I step into that and grow into that? And it changes through all phases of life. And so, if you haven't really spent the time to ask those questions, there's never a better time than now.
Write them down. Write down those questions. You don't have to post them here.
Mm.
Write them
Also,
down for yourself.
yeah, we're also going to practice having difficult conversations when I need to exercise my voice, because a lot of times, not everyone, but most of the people that I work with don't know what it sounds like. And so it's real helpful to have that opportunity to practice and to hear it coming from someone else. So you have some scripts to
Yeah.
step into.
So can we talk a little bit about that for just a second? I love that you brought that up, because we as coaches, and with the time limitations that we have, we don't do a deep dive into the why are you here? How did you get here? You can think about that. You can work with your therapist about that if you don't already have one. Coaching is about, I'm here now what?
Mm.
It's about the now what? Now what am I going to do? So when Coach Diana just talks about, we're going to practice stuff, because we recognize already, if you're here, it's because we recognize we need to work on sharing our voice, proclaiming something. What has God claimed for you and for your heart? And we're going to practice that in not only the group size that we have, which is up to 20, 25 people, women specifically, but we also allow Zoom time. And that's why I mentioned earlier, we need you to practice Zoom beforehand. We don't have time. We do not have time to practice Zoom and do all the Zoom instructions. There's lots of tutorials. We give you guidance. We trust you that you can figure this out. But we do breakout rooms into smaller groups where, amongst the larger group of maybe 20, 25 of you, we actually get into groups of 3, 4, maybe, and learn each other's hearts.
So I want to answer a question in the chat. You're going to want to sign up as soon as possible, because our classes that are open start tomorrow.
I have mine tonight. It's already full.
Well, yeah. So any of the open sections start tomorrow. We have just a few seats left at the table, and we want you there because the interaction is good. You will not. You will find that it is rewarding to do the work and to take that deep dive. So again, hi Brenda. What you will want to do is log in to the Moving Beyond People Pleasing module, and make sure that you know how to log into your Zoom class, and all of your materials that are available will be present there for you. And so if there's a video to watch, you'll want to watch the video and print out the handout to bring to your group class with us. Yeah. And then just show up with a pen and a piece of paper handy along with your handout, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love Mary's question too. Is there still time to join? Yes. I don't know, Amanda, if you can answer us specifically, but I'm going to make a call and say it's got to be today, because the open classes are as of tomorrow morning. And as coaches, we take special care in knowing who you are. So there is a little bit of paperwork for you to fill out and all the sign up stuff that you have to do. And then we as coaches take that very, very seriously. And so we will look at what you're sharing with the group. So even if it doesn't get shared amongst all of the people in your Zoom class, Diana and I know who you are. Elise knows who you are. Leanne knows who you are. Susan knows who you are. We take that very, very seriously. And that's why we need a little bit of prep time. So it's really got to be done today. So this is a blessing that we're doing this, a little bit of an extra kind of, hey, one more shot at this. And as far as being part of the Zoom, absolutely. I mean, you get the replays. You are given, Leslie is so generous, and she gives lifetime access to this material, which not many other people do, because I've been a part of this business for long enough to see how shortened people make it for marketing purposes. Leslie gives you this for a lifetime. So as long as technology works, you've got access to this. But the difference is the experience. And so there's two things. If you choose to watch the replay later, that's one thing. You will not get to see any of the breakouts. Those are very private and they are not recorded. So you will get a much condensed version of what the class is all about. And if you do show up, and we're glad that you're there, if you don't show your face, if you don't post in the chat, if you don't participate in the breakouts, that's up to you. It's
It is a group coaching experience. So we want, and part of this growth that we're asking you to consider is to step out of your comfort zone and try on some new clothes.
Yeah.
And see how they fit. And a part of that might be like, learning how to use the Zoom medium effectively. I remember when we had COVID, and most of all of the work that I did was in person, and I had so many reluctant people that did not want to use it. And now I have to tell you, they don't want to go back to being in person. They love the convenience of being on Zoom and have found it easy to use.
Yes.
And, we don't want you to have the experience of being alone in whatever it is that you're wanting to move through. And so I think a part of that is being able to be seen. We want you to feel seen, heard, and understood, and we want others to experience that with you and from you as well. And so if you need some help, our tech team is always willing to help out with any of the technology. So don't let that stop you. Today is the last day to sign up, and because we do prepare by knowing who you are, and we do pray over our groups, and because we want to see you get the most outcome that you can when you sign up.
And I think that's a great thing to just say. What outcome would you want if you were to invest time, money, energy into this? What outcome do you want? How do you want to be different? Like Diana said earlier, we want you to come out different, have a different experience on the other side of this, but talk to us about how you would be different. So we're talking 6 weeks, middle of August-ish, kind of.
Well, we're starting next week, and we're just saying yes. I'm telling you what, every time we go through this material, I always tell everyone we learn in layers, and it's just the process of constant improvement and digging in and transformation. And so you'll glean stuff now, and then you'll want to look back at the material again in 6 months, maybe along with all of your group members, which some of our ladies do.
Oh yeah.
There'll be another layer. It's just really, we just really enjoy the momentum. Okay, so the tech team is assistant@leslievernick.com.
That's right.
I think we may give you a brief introduction just to using your hands, your hand in the Zoom calls, and how to use the chat, those kinds of, but we'd like you to be familiar with it so you can come to the call and just dive right in.
Yeah.
But listen to this, ladies. What you're going to learn: 16 red flags. Learn how to speak up for yourself, set boundaries, stop people pleasing, learn to say no. Why is it biblical? For me, that's the biggest thing. I remember reading Henry Cloud's book. He was the first one to write on boundaries that I remember.
They're all right in there. If anyone ever wants to come to my place, all of those Cloud and Townsend books are right there.
How do you keep all your books in just one thing?
I don't have 4,000 books like you do, sweetheart. I only have so many.
I got rid of 4,000. I still have.
I tease Diana all the time because she loves her books.
I'm a book. Yeah, well.
No, but you're right. Boundaries are huge, right?
So yeah, but I remember when Henry Cloud was saying, he was talking about how we enable other people to sin when we don't exercise our no. And that gave me the legitimate reason to say, wow, I understand now why biblically it's important for me to step into that behavior. And then we do have a question about manipulation. And that's one thing that we will cover is, how do I recognize when I'm being manipulated, right? How do I let go of false guilt? Mm-hmm. How do I respectfully disagree? I mean, we can disagree, but can we do that respectfully, right?
And we give scripts like we talked about earlier. We actually practice this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And here's my favorite piece is begin. I don't know why, but I just like these words. And I think the journey is fun, is to begin to discover who the real you is. Oh. Like, who is Diana? Who is Jen? And I think that's the joy of getting to know someone else. It's really like, what like what makes you tick,
And it could be a little bit scary, but we provide a safe place for you to explore that. And that might happen within the group. And then the power of coaching is also what happens after you hang up the phone, after you get off the Zoom call.
Yeah.
It could be 3:00 in the morning. I always think if I get awakened in the middle of the night, it's God knocking at my door trying to tell me something. All right. So keep going. Why do people need to be here? Yeah.
So develop your boundaries about what's okay and what's not okay. So you can walk away with some boundaries that you can put in place. And, boundaries are, I think it sounds simple, but most people don't really understand what a boundary is and what it isn't. And so there's a lot about that. And I love really kind of looking at that and seeing what all can I do with my boundaries and where does it begin? It's not just about setting boundaries on others. It's about really setting boundaries with ourselves. And then, again, our topic for today, we're going to look at understanding why do I say yes when I really want to say no. The spiritual roots of fear of men. And so we have some wonderful teaching, some process questions, and then we're going to do a dive in a group settings to help you to become comfortable with what's been uncomfortable and maybe to become aware of what you hadn't recognized before. That's where the power to change is, right? Sometimes I have those moments. I wake up in the morning with these awarenesses and I'm like, oh my goodness, I hadn't thought about that. Sometimes anxiety follows, but I'm grateful for those moments of insight.
Well, I love that you talk about that, and that it also reminds me of doing that dive into just showing up and the courage, because as we get to know ourselves, sometimes it's just the curiosity that we need to, I don't even know who I am yet. You don't need to show up to this group already knowing who you are. We're here to help you explore that. And that's why we've got women, and post it in the chat if you've been around for a while, because Diana, I know this is my second summer doing this. You've been on Leslie's team for quite some time. So thank you for that. And thank you for your service. But there are women that not only did you mention stay together as a group long after the groups officially end, but we're talking about women that come back time and time again, because just like scripture, come on, just like scripture, there's this scripture out there that you've probably had in your head or been taught since you were like 10 years old that all of a sudden hits you when you're 50 in a different way. Well, I'm 51. So that's why I say that. It could be 39. It could be, you've read it a million times. And it was like, okay, I believe it, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then boom, all of a sudden it hits you differently. That's what the power of this material is all about. So it is the power of the group experience itself. It's the fact that Leslie is so generous that she lets you have it long term, forever and ever, and the ability to come back. Because we have women that come back all the time and do this summer after summer or take course after course. So we want you to know that you're welcome, that I think our whole thing is about grace and growth. It's about connection. And maybe this is your first step into that. Maybe even people pleasing isn't something you even thought was an issue for you, but you just need that connection. You still have time to sign up and get with women that will understand you and coaches that will love on you and just facilitate a safe place.
Thanks, Jen. So I want to address this question Melissa has. The difference between the Moving Beyond People Pleasing group coaching program and the Conquer group is that Moving Beyond People Pleasing is a 6-week deeper dive into people pleasing. It's a limited to a group of 20 women, and there's curriculum built around it. And so it has a definite beginning and an end. The Conquer group is a support an educational opportunity, really a community.
And
that-
self-guided, if I could say.
Pardon?
Self-guided, really.
Yeah. And so you have a vast library of resources along with a membership Facebook group where you can interact. And then we do live calls, which we're going to have one in just about 15 minutes today, twice a month, where Conquer Women get on and they have a chance to interact with the coaches and ask questions and learn from one another. We usually have quite a few women on those calls as well. And we have our Conquer membership opens up twice a year. And so that is the difference. And thank you for asking that question.
Yeah. I think it's important to understand all of the options that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You have lots of options. So we want to help you explore them.
You're welcome, Melissa. I have a question. I'm gonna toss it out there and see what you do with it. I've gotten to a place where I'm feeling manipulated, and that's causing me to feel angry. So we want to kind of address that in terms of the people-pleasing thing. Any suggestions for addressing this feeling of being manipulated, which is one of the topics that we're going to dive into, right? So yeah, I said I was going to give you a stab at it, but I have some thoughts as well.
Then you go first, and I'll add anything because you're brilliant. So,
well, I'm really glad that you're feeling manipulated, because a lot of times you don't even know you're being manipulated. So there you go, right there. That is huge.
And feeling angry.
Yes.
There's two things going on there, right?
Yeah. So the anger and the manipulation is your first cue. And I would say the first step is address it, believe it. If this is what I'm experiencing, what role do I play in this, in allowing this to continue to occur? And what are some steps? And I don't know who asked this question because I don't have a name, but you can put it in the chat. What are some steps that you could take to address those feelings of manipulation in the situation? Would it be to speak out? Would it be to walk away? What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. And I love that. I love that we have this question because it really does help us understand, as we were talking about earlier, the notice, pause, choose. You'll keep hearing us talk about this. I'm sure a lot of you already have. Anyone out there heard us talk about that before? This is the notice part. I'm feeling manipulated. I'm feeling angry.
Yeah.
That is so different from person to person, or potentially different from person to person. Go back to what you said earlier, Diane, about God making us unique. Okay. Mm-hmm. So he's allowed us to feel these things in different ways. So notice, how do you know that you're angry? How do you know that you're being manipulated? What is going is notice. And that's a lot of what we spend our time on, is getting the awareness piece. Because once you are aware, as far as I'm concerned, you're golden. I always tease my groups. I talked about this last week, so you'll get sick of me saying it, but it's like painting a room. How much time do you need to spend on taping everything out and buying the paint and getting the stirs? It's 90% is prep. And to me, awareness is the same thing. It's like, wow, we have to do a lot of work. I get it. To the awareness piece, like what Diana's talking about. And then from there, we can choose to pause, and then we can choose our next right response.
So Sherelle is owning the question. Thank you. That's helpful. And she's saying that I feel if I address it, he'll deny it. And so when I said, what will you do? Mm-hmm. That doesn't necessarily mean wanting a response from him.
And I would say just because he denies it doesn't make it any less true.
Yeah. And so, what if he does deny it? If I am having the experience of being manipulated and I'm really angry about that, I know it's occurring. What will I do? How will I own this being a different experience for me, even when I can't change the other person? They won't own it. They won't acknowledge it. they just continue in it. What will I do? That's part of what we need to work out. Because in a lot of these cases, some of these behaviors we can experience from other people again and again and again. And so we have to make some decisions about how we will, I'm going to use the term dance around that and walk in our truth.
Amen. I love that. Thank you for bringing that up, because for those that have been around for a while will understand that we're about core, and C being being courageously and consciously aware of our truth. And God never promised that the truth would be easy. It's just the truth.
Seriously, I think a lot of times people do what they do, and they don't. Some people are not amenable to change, and so sometimes it may mean I dance differently with this partner because they always step on my toes, so I keep my toes clear.
I'm loving this. Okay, keep going.
Sometimes it means I choose a different dance partner. Sometimes I do stay silent and I just don't reveal what it is that I want, think, or need, because I just do it anyways. I'm not going to engage in the battle. So many, and each relationship is different.
I'm choosing a different song. I'm in my Spotify playlist right now. As you're talking about that, it doesn't even have to be a different pair. It can be a different song, right?
We were just at Ed Sheeran, and he has the one I'm Dancing in the Dark.
Oh, right. Yes, that's his big song right now. Yes, that just came up.
Yeah, and I think he was singing about someone that he no longer has in his life. But sometimes we just choose to dance, and I'm going to dance in the dark if I can't find someone who's going to dance to the tunes I like. I'm not dancing really alone because the Lord is with me.
Always.
I'm going to choose the songs. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for that analogy.
We don't have any more questions.
No. Except Dorothy just asked, are we to watch the videos ahead of time? Yes, that's part of your work.
Yes, please. And if there's no video released, it means it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
They release them. We don't do that. The tech team does that. They release them as needed for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah. So if you have anything that's going on, so let's give a shout out to our tech team again. assistant@leslievernick.com. So for those that have signed up, for those that are having issues, trying to get signed up, if you can't get into your portal, they are amazing. And Diana and I, along with Leanne, Susan, and Elise, with Leslie's guidance, we will all be there as at our class times, all of that sort of stuff to help you out. But we are not dedicated, should I say? Maybe that's not the right word, but we can't be committed to the time that it takes to help you with tech issues, because that takes away from other people that are ready. We are there to serve you with the content and with the connection and the community that we want you to experience. And so you have such a great opportunity this week, like as early as tomorrow. So if you haven't already, get on it. But I think that's it. We're done. Like, this is it until Walking in Core Strength opens maybe this fall. And then we've got Conquered later this fall too. But if you need it and you know it, just pause for a second as we keep talking about. Just pause right now. If I need this, just allow yourself to take that in. It may not be feasible, but you can still own that you need it. Just embrace that right now, okay? Because we are here for you. Mm-hmm. There's lots of resources out there.
So I'm looking at the classes. We have some Tuesday. We have a lot of different times available, but I don't know how many slots we have in those classes. So we're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday options, and there is an evening option, I think. No, there's no evening options. But so check now. There's a link running across the screen, and then also there'll be one in the chat for you as well. And
And so Dorothy's saying that the video handouts are not opening. That's the stuff we can't help you with. So please, please, please go to assistant@leslievernick.com, because it sounds to me like you are in your portal and you're accessing what you need to access. I can't help you with that. Diana can't help you with that. So we encourage you to email right away so that you can have all the information that you need to participate. So we want you to be fully engaged. We really do. But we strive to be a safe environment so that we don't want you to feel at all that if you missed a video or I can't find it or something, please still show up. Please show up, because it's about your experience. And remember, we're not just all about content. We're also about community and connection. So remember that. And we'll do our best. You may feel something or whatever's going on with you, and I understand, but don't not show up because of something that you think you've missed. Because that's what we're here for as coaches, to guide you through it and make it a real life experience. And we work really hard at that.
It's definitely doable.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, even during a summer, it's definitely doable, even with all your summer activities. I just grab the materials and sit out in the yard and kind of go through them and just see what God brings to you. He will bring insight as you move through. I'm looking on the screen for those that are already signed up just to see. I'm logging in to see what your what it looks like for
awesome.
you. So actually, some of our ladies had already we have a Facebook group for this as well, and some of our ladies, I think, went through all the material ahead of time. So they should all be there for you. If you can't get in, it's all there. And then there is a extra ebook on Get Your Moving Beyond People Pleasing ebook along with that, which is complimentary as part of this course. And so we long to see you there. Look forward to meeting all of you and working with you. Each one of us really gets to know our groups and our ladies, and it's just fun. It's fun for us. It's fun for them, and we're just grateful that you spent this time to be with us today.
It's intense work, right, Diana? But it's a summertime thing. So I think our personalities all shine through, that we're fun and open and all of those things. Like, I'm thinking for anyone that still can join my 7 a.m. tomorrow morning group, Eastern, it's like pajamas and coffee or tea all the way, girls. Like, it's show up as you are. And I mean, I think that goes for all of our groups. You could be in your pajamas at any time. We don't care. We just want you to show up. Doesn't God just want you to show up?
So ladies, if you're interested, if you're curious, just go to the link and, pray about it, make some decisions. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah. Thank
you so much.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.